Did you know? Persona 2 Eternal Punishment is actually the third Persona game. Persona 2 Innocent Sin is the second Persona game and originally didn't release in the West. Concerns arose that an American audience wouldn't understand all of Innocent Sin's contextual references to Japanese culture. More controversially, many of the game's symbolic allusions were thought to be too offensive for Westerners. This includes the use of swastikas, Nazis, and even Adolf Hitler. Atlus ultimately decided against localizing the game. Marketing manager of Atlus USA, Gail Salamanca, told Game Informer the team's reasons for not localizing Innocent Sin. "I think it pretty much boiled down to resources and manpower, since development was well underway on Persona 2 Eternal Punishment. Having to go back to Persona 2 Innocent Sin localization probably wasn't factored into the dev team's schedule, so we pretty much had to let it go. Though it wasn't for the lack of bitching and moaning by the US staff. Eventually, a remake of Innocent Sin made its way to the PSP in 2011. Hitler was renamed Führer and sported dark sunglasses. This was done with both Western and Japanese releases, as the Japanese rating board has a rule preventing the depiction of real people. It's speculated that Hitler's appearance was also changed in preparation of an international release. Curiously, the PSP remake of Persona 2 Eternal Punishment was never released overseas, despite the fact that it released internationally on the PlayStation. These weren't the only games subject to localization changes. The infamous port of the first Persona game, Revelations Persona, on the PS1 was heavily reworked. Almost all Japanese cultural references were cut. Currency was changed from yen to dollars, and the town's name was changed from Mikage-cho to Lunarville. Furthermore, the difficulty of the game was toned down, with lower enemy encounter rates and increased experience per encounter. But due to the localization team not increasing the amount of money dropped per battle, the player would be faced with a money shortage. All characters were renamed, with several of them having their appearance altered. Most notably, the character Masao Inaba changed race and was renamed Mark. Over the course of the series' development, several characters were changed. Persona 3's Fuka went through a radical shift, with her early designs being carried over to the character Chihiro. Persona 4's Kanji also went through design changes, originally having smarter clothes and dark hair. Art director Shigenori Sojima wanted to try mixing music and retro designs, something akin to rockabilly fashion. This stayed with Kanji throughout the design process. Naoto went through a more drastic change, starting as a Bishonen male who could be mistaken for a girl. This was eventually changed, yet the ambiguity of Naoto's gender remained. The Persona franchise contains a few hidden secrets. If you use a cheat device in Persona 3, members of the cast will audibly chastise the player.
I'm very disappointed in you.
You're cheating!
You're cheating. I'll have to punish you.
These are accessible in-game, but some content was cut completely. In Persona 4, there's unused text from the beginning of the game that directly asks the player to avoid spoiling critical moments from the story, stating, "Even if you have any clues about the criminal's identity, please keep them to yourself. Your clues or theories may deprive others of the fun of discovering the story for themselves. Besides, the truth you find may not be the real truth." There's also copious amounts of cut content across the series. In the data for Persona 3 Portable, there's an unused cutscene where the player can romance Junpei. The scene was planned to be accessible by using the female protagonist option. Similarly, Persona 4 contains files that suggest a removed romance option. Cut voice lines from Yosuke reveal him saying,
"I like you. Don't go."
And even,
"I never knew I had such heat inside."
The equivalent cut dialogue in Japanese, particularly "I like you," translates to
俺お前が好きだ。
This phrase is used with romantic affection, suggesting that Yosuke was planned to be a romantic partner at some point during the game's development. Persona 3's battle system was also slightly different during development. There were no battle transitions, enemies just popped up into the world, and a battle ensued Chrono Trigger style. In addition to this, Kin was originally going to use darts as a weapon instead of spears like in the final game. Persona contains small nods to other games in the Shin Megami Tensei series. In Persona 3, there's a fictional MMORPG called Innocent Sin Online. Playing it will merit you the social link of Hermit with a character named Maya. Maya is the name of one of the main characters in Persona 2 Innocent Sin, as well as the protagonist in the follow-up game Persona 2 Eternal Punishment. The protagonist also has the screen name Tatsuya, referencing the protagonist of Innocent Sin. Kanji's social link in Persona 4 has a reference to Persona 3's Sun's social link with Akinari Kamiki. In Persona 3, Akinari writes a story about a pink alligator and a bird. In Persona 4, Kanji will make a pink stuffed alligator during his social link in reference to the book. The town in Persona 4, Inaba, also serves as many references. Firstly, it can be directly connected to a character from the original Persona, Masao Inaba, but a more notable connection relates to a demon who is the mainstay of the Shin Megami Tensei series, the Hare of Inaba. Although Inaba was modeled after a town near Mount Fuji, a common misconception is that Inaba is a play on the word Inaka, meaning the countryside. The legitimacy of the choice can be cited from Shigenori Sojima, who states, "No, we didn't pun Inaba from Inaka. Inaba comes from a story in Japanese myth, a white rabbit in Inaba. The hare was a rabbit god who fooled various sharks into being used as a bridge to travel from the island of Oki to Cape Keta. Importantly, he exclaims how he fooled the sharks for his own gains, and upon the last shark he is attacked. This may be foreshadowing to a particular arc involving the mysterious murders throughout the story." The Persona franchise also references other media. Persona 4 has a book named Witch Detective, which is described as a plottingly written romantic comedy about a girl on her first day of school in a new town. Vampires are involved. The content of this book was almost physically painful for you to read. The summary is a reference to Stephanie Meyer's Twilight novels. Also in Persona 4, around January, you're able to harvest bugs from the snow in your garden. When you interact with your pail to do so, someone will chime in saying, "Hold on there, sensei, it's dangerous to go alone, take me," referencing The Legend of Zelda. A similar reference can be found much later, after unlocking the Heaven dungeon. If you try to return to the Void Quest dungeon, Yosuke will state, "Our princess is in another castle, dude," referencing Toad's infamous message to Mario in Super Mario Bros. The boss of this dungeon is also a reference to 3D Dot Game Heroes, another Atlus title in development at the time. Persona 4 Arena was the first of 2 PlayStation 3 games to be region-locked, the other being a karaoke game called Joy Sound Drive. While developing Arena, developer Arc System Works pushed to have more non-playable characters in the roster. At one point, producer Toshimichi Mori contacted Atlus if they could develop Ryotaro Dojima as a playable character. They even went as far to request his 6-year-old daughter, Nanako. This request was denied, with Mori stating, "They said like, hell no, why did you even think that?" Before you go, we'd like you to vote on what you would like to see covered in the future. A video on Chrono Trigger, or a video on the Mario RPGs. You can also vote by leaving a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more facts and trivia. And yo, it's Austin from the channel Boku no Eruption, and I have a video on my channel on the top 5 things that I want out of Persona 5, so check that out if you'd like. If not, well, come check out some other stuff, and I'll see you around.